All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ole Miss After Dark. I'm joined here once again by my main man, Hitch. As you can see there on the right side of your screen, he was kind enough to join me once again so we can talk about yet another Ole Miss Rebel sweep in baseball. The Jacksonville State Gamecocks come to Swayze Field and they leave winless just like everybody else has when they have graced the beautiful field in Oxford, Mississippi. Hitch, appreciate you being here again today, buddy. How you been doing, man?
Doing great, man. And you said it. It's great for a sweep this weekend because I think we said it last week. It's felt like there's been some teams have had some missteps, and Ole Miss is just taking care of business, beating the teams that are in front of them, and it feels I feel really good, going into SEC play with what we've done so far in the non-con.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't really matter how good you are. Even really good teams drop games to bad teams, right? Especially in baseball, you're going to drop one, two, three games, something like that, to inferior teams. And to Ole Miss's credit, that hasn't been the case with this baseball team. They dropped the one game in Arlington to Texas, obviously, get run ruled there. But we haven't lost since. This team's really bounced back and has done a really good job answering the bell every single day. And with that, we'll go ahead and get into Fridays. I think this is another good example of the resiliency of this baseball team because this is a game where Hunter Elliott, he was battling an illness. I assume he might have gotten the stomach bug that Luke Hill had on Wednesday that kept him out of the midweek game against Murray State. But it came out that he was battling an illness, and you could tell that from the jump because you could tell that Hunter didn't have his best stuff. Obviously, Jacksonville State jumps out to a 2-0 lead there in the second inning. Ole Miss comes back with the Isaac Humphries home run to tie it up in the second, 2-2, and then that third inning, Hunter Elliott ends up giving up two more runs. But the biggest thing was the control, right? This wasn't the Hunter Elliott we've seen ever since he stepped on campus at Ole Miss because control is all over the place. Three walks and three in the third, obviously not great. Basically walking a runner an inning, but also three hit by pitch. One of those being in an 0-2 count with the bases loaded there in the third inning. Felt like he had a shot to get out of it. Tries to run the fastball inside, like I said, on an 0-2 count. Ends up plucking the guy. It was either in the elbow, rib cage, something like that, driving in a run that way. But he was just kind of grinding all day and really struggling to find any sort of consistency and locate.
Yeah, really. I mean, it starts with the fastball. He just couldn't, locate that fastball consistently. And when that happens, right, it really that changeup becomes much less effective. And so does his slider too. If we're talking about all of his pitches, but they come really less effective when he's not controlling the fastball. Because you can now at this point you can wait for him to throw a fastball, middle, or wait for him to go to one of those off-speed pitches and maybe hang one. But like you said, just the control wasn't there. Three walks, three hit by pitch, but the big number is the 71 pitches through 3 1/3. He's going to run a higher pitch count because he strikes a lot of guys out. But this is, obviously a little bit too high for 3 2/3, the control. But like you said, I don't think we knew as fans watching the game that he was under the weather before the game. But hearing that either Saturday or Sunday, it does make sense that that's kind of what it was, and expecting to bounce back Friday night.
Yeah, I do too. And coming in to relieve Hunter Elliott once again on a Friday was the other Tupelo native, Mason Morris. And this guy was absolutely dynamite. Hitch, I know we've talked about him, hell, probably every single week on this show. It seems like we bring up Mason Morris at least once. And this was easily the best outing so far of the year. And then that's really saying something because he's been really special so far ever since the season started. But he comes in and gives you 4 2/3 inning of relief, only giving up one hit, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, 57 pitches there in the 4 2/3. So he kept his pitch count down. What did you see out of Mason Morris? I imagine it's a lot of the same. Good fastball, that cutter that he's added to it as well. And obviously he's got that slider to go with it too. He just seemed to have everything working and really saved this bullpen for the weekend and didn't let Jacksonville State continue their momentum, take this game. He kept putting up zeros, allowed this offense to come back and win one for us on Friday night without burning through arms.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what he's done. And, that's been the story for the season for Mason Morris. And I went and looked at his numbers, and I think he has a sub-1 ERA, a bunch of strikeouts, and, a lot of innings pitched for us, which has been big. But I don't know that I've seen a pitcher on the staff that's had more of a jump from his last year to this year working with Joel Mangrum. I mean, it's I'm not going to say it's night and day because Mason Morris has always been a very good, very capable pitcher. But it feels like now he is a different pitcher, and he's really coming into games in the times where, it's a high pressure situation, or in this case, right, you needed him to go 5 innings to bridge a gap, and he was able to do that, which is another big thing for Mason Morris, because it feels like in years prior, you would only get 1, 2, maybe 3 innings max out of it, because when that lineup flipped around the second time, his numbers weren't great the second time around the lineup, and him going, 4+ innings here shows that he's got the stuff. He's made that jump to where, if he needs to go twice through the lineup, he can do that, and that's big.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost as if young pitchers are able to get better as they grow and get more experience, and Mason's definitely done that. Just a phenomenal job by him. Completely turned the weekend around. Like I said, was able to shut Jacksonville State down, killed their momentum, because if they end up taking that game Friday, they were a little chippy, a little chirpy throughout the game, thinking they were going to come in here and beat a top 25 SEC team. And Mason did his job. Connor Spencer came in with the perfect 9th inning with the strikeout to secure the save. But going to the offensive side here, kind of more of the same guys we talk about every single week. It seems like Federico with another hit, the big 2-run homer. You get homers from Fed, Humphrey, Fowley, and Furness. Furness has really turned it on. SEC play coming up, actually tweeted it out. I think going into that Friday game, SEC play is close because Furness is heating up. But then Ryan Moorman, Judd Udemore, both with doubles. Luke Hill with the hit as well. It wasn't an overall great offensive day. It was a very timely offensive day, though. We got hits when we needed to, and I think that was spurred on by Mason Morris killing the momentum, throwing up zeros, giving them a chance. And then obviously the big call against Humphrey. I know you were pissed off about it because I heard about it.
Still mad about it.
As soon as it happened. Yeah. And it kind of looked like it lit a fire under the Rebels as well. There in that 6th inning, Fowley comes up, hits a bomb, followed by Will Furness, and then Chang ends up getting hit by the pitch, and that sets up Federico to hit the 2-run bomb there to give us the lead. Just a great job by this offense, plugging away, doing what you got to do, and winning a game that you were down basically most of it, right?
Yeah, and I hate it for Austin Fawley, right? Because his home run gets lost. It not gets lost in the shuffle, but I mean, it was right after that Humphreys call, and a terrible, awful call. I thought that the umpire was going to throw me out from my garage, right? Like, it was terrible. But to his credit, Fawley comes up and he hits a long home run, and then Will Furness absolutely uncorks on one. Like, that swing, the ball, they said what, like 406 or whatever it was, is like, I don't believe that, because that swing tells me something different. And then, what has Federico not done for the Rebels this year? His year is starting, and I'm not making the comparison, right? But it does remind me of the kid from LSU last year, the year before, Stephen Milam, right? With all these big things as a freshman that he did, right? It feels like Federico is kind of building that kind of season himself. So it's going to be fun to follow that.
Yeah, and to Federico's credit, he took a page out of your book, Hitch. He, obviously it's the big home run. He's really excited, does the bat flip, yelling at his dugout and all that, and then comes out post game and apologizes for acting that way, promises it'll never happen again. And I thought that's a Hitch guy right there because he hates bat flips, he hates taunting anybody, hates celebrations, period. And I saw that and I thought, yeah, Fed officially a Hitch guy.
No, brother. If I hit a bomb like Federico, I'm flipping my bat and I'm asking the dugout better throw me another one. Flip every. There better not be a bat unflipped in that dugout.
Yeah, that was obviously a huge moment there for Fed. So that was great to see. He gets the walk off on Wednesday against Murray State, and then has that big home run to give us the lead. Kind of like you said, what hasn't freshman done? He's done a little bit of everything for us. And we'll go ahead and move on to Saturday here. Now, after that win on Friday, obviously Riley Maddox takes the mound, right? And look, Maddox, outside of that one inning against Texas, has been probably our best starter. I don't think that's really too much of a stretch. Goes 75 pitches in 5 innings, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 1 hit by pitch though. But overall, I thought it was another really solid outing from Riley Maddox, and just kind of feels like you know what you're going to get every single Saturday when he takes the mound.
Yeah, I mean, just works both sides of the plate, in and out. He'll raise the eye level, and then he has a nice breaking ball that just kind of sweeps across and makes it really tough on hitters, especially when he's in the strike zone, which is most of the time he does throw a lot of strikes. Yeah, I mean, you've got the 5 flyouts that seem kind of weird, but six ground outs seems right on par. And if the wind is blowing in like it is this weekend, like Riley Maddox is about as safe of a starter as you can find.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. With his elite ground ball stuff, and then if you're going to take the fly balls away from him too, if he doesn't have to worry about that, if something gets caught up in the air. I saw a stat. I believe it was Chase Parham that put it out there that I didn't realize. I knew Riley Max had been really good, but he's thrown like 18 innings so far this year, something like that, and he's thrown up zeros in 16 of them. It's only been 2 innings the entire year that he's actually given up runs. So that's how good Riley's been. And so his numbers are a little bit skewed from that start in Arlington against Texas. Patrick Galley comes in, really struggles, 2/3 of an inning, 3 earned runs, walk, no strikeouts. If he's not striking anybody out, then that's really tough for the Rebels. Ryan Rodriguez comes in, gets us out of that inning in the 3rd of an inning. And then look, another freshman, we talk about him again, seems like every single week. Walker Hooks comes in, 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, 43 pitches. The guy just comes in, he does it week after week. It's gotten to the point where he's going to have to start getting more opportunities. I think he's pretty much solidified himself as coming out of that bullpen at least once every single weekend, no matter who we are facing.
Yeah, and Galley, look at that walk number, only 1 walk. You think if he has numbers like this, he's put some guys on base. And that wasn't it. It was almost like he was in the zone too much, if you could say that almost, because, just it felt like guys were up there against him, knowing that the fastball was coming, and they were, if you know that the fastball is coming at the letters, you can throw it at 98, and these guys are going to hit it. And so it was almost a tip your cap to the other side of to the other dugout, because felt like they had a scouting report on Patrick Galley, and they executed it. But like I said, Ryan Rodriguez comes in, cleans it up, and then same thing that we said about Federico on the offensive side as a freshman. You could almost say the same thing about Walker Hooks on this side. What else does the freshman need to do in order to prove that he is the real deal? And probably nothing. Yeah, I like the way he pitches. Right? I like how he just comes up there, grabs the ball, and throws the next pitch. So give him every opportunity he deserves there on the mound on the weekend for sure.
Yeah. And then offensively, it was kind of a breakout game for this offense as Ole Miss ends up winning this one 12-4. You get home runs from Mitchell Sanford and Austin Fowley, doubles Surprise, surprise, Ryan Mormon and Isaac Humphries, each with doubles, but multi-hit games out of Luke Hill again. And he also walked twice to go with it, 2 for 3, 2 runs. Our guy, Will Furness, Will has done a really good job going the other way, right? That seems to be kind of the change in what's happening from earlier in the year. He's really focusing on going to left field right now. He goes 2 for 4 with 2 more RBIs there. But look at all the RBI numbers you get here. You get 2 from Mormon, 2 from Sanford, 1 from Udemark, 3 from Isaac Humphries, 2 from Fowley, 2 from Will Furness. Just an overall real well-rounded game from this offense, and that's how you end up putting up 12 runs and end up taking the series there on Saturday. Do you have anything to add from any of the hitters there?
No, I mean, I think that you nailed it. Everybody, up and down the lineup, hit the ball well, and they did their job. Look, you've got 12 people left on base. You'd probably like to see that number lower in most cases, but when you score 12 runs and have 9 hits, there were probably a lot of innings, or you can think there's probably a lot of innings that you had 2 guys on or bases loaded, scored 2 or 3 runs, and then got the third out, and those 3 guys were left on base. But yeah, I mean, the offense pretty good. I mean, Austin Fawley, just keep hitting dingers, buddy.
That's literally all he does.
Yep, don't change a thing, my man.
Yep, yeah, that's what he's doing. So moving on to Sunday, Ole Miss ends up completing the sweep here against Jacksonville State with a 13-2 run rule victory over the Gamecocks. Mason Nichols backed up his 10 strikeout performance with another very impressive performance here on Sunday. 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 5 more strikeouts. They can call that a wild pitch if they want to. I'll argue it, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. But look, Mason did a really good job, and I know this is something you want to touch on. The strikeouts are really coming at a high number right now, Hitch, and it seems like a lot of it's up in the zone too. What have you noticed from Mason Nichols here these last couple of weeks?
Well, I looked at it, right? It's 15 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts. And the thing that I noticed is that more than half of those are of the backward variety. All right, he's got 14 Ks looking. Welcome to the new segment. Hitch notices patterns but don't know how to explain them. But thanks to our friend of the pod, one of the coaches at Houston High School baseball team, Reed Flowers, he put it into words pretty well. And so, kind of what's happening or what we've theorized is happening with all these Ks looking is that Mason Nichols' spin rate right on that fastball is so high, and his changeup is so good. And he throws both with the same arm action, right? That out of the and he does a very good job of raising the eye level with throwing fastballs at the letters. That when the hitter sees the ball down, they think changeup, it's going to drop out of the zone, and they give up on it. And what happens is that spin rate keeps it in the zone for 94 at the knees, and it's freezing everybody, it feels like. And when you can start doing things like that, like deceiving the hitter in those ways, you're doing something really special. And so with the performance by Elliott on Friday night, and then the performance by Maddox and Nichols on Saturday and Sunday, I'm really looking forward to next weekend going into it and seeing Elliott bounce back and seeing if Maddox and Nichols can continue. I'm not going to say dominance, but continue their consistency when it comes to throwing up zeros.
Yeah, and that's really all you can ask for, right? With pitchers in the SEC, you just want consistency. You want to know what you're dealing with and what you're looking at each and every day when they go out there and toe the rubber. Mason Nichols has been incredible, though. I wanted to piggyback off that for just 1 second, because you had talked about the same arm action with the changeup and the fastball with Nichols, and that being one of the ways he's deceiving them. One thing that all of these pitchers have talked about with Joel Mangrum since he's been hired is tunneling, right? And for the ones that don't know tunneling, that is, like Hitch said, the same arm action, but it's the same release point. You're not able to get a gauge of what you're throwing by how he's throwing it because everything looks the exact same coming out of the arm. It's the same release point, no matter where the ball's going, and that seems to be one thing working. And not only Mason Nichols' favor, I think that's another reason Mason Morris has had such a good start to the year. Connor Spencer, a lot of these guys. That's one thing they really worked on. Seems to be paying dividends here in the early season. Will McCausland comes in, 2 innings pitched, 2 earned, 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts there. An okay outing for him. He didn't have his best stuff, but I still thought he looked fine over 2 innings. No issue there. We had a big lead. We're just trying to go in there and get out. So you're probably getting it across the plate and making things a little more hittable to try to let your defense make plays for you anyway. Landon Walters ends up picking up the win here. 2 innings, no hits, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Again, came in, did his job, eats up the last 2 innings, and gets us to the finish line. And the one that come and not only pushed us, shoved us, speared us, whatever you want to call it, Ryan Moorman with an absolutely monster day here. 3 for 4, 7 RBIs here on Sunday, including that walk-off grand slam. He had 2 home runs. To go along with a walk, 3 runs scored. Just an absolute dynamic performance from the Illinois transfer here, Hitch.
Yeah, I mean, he comes out to John Cena's music, but I mean, he's still a babyface for the Rebels. Like he didn't he didn't turn heel. Just another monster performance from him. He's been each weekend or every game. It feels like he fills up the stat sheet. But that 7 RBIs is a big number. I didn't even realize that until I just looked at it. When I was like, oh, that's a big number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He drove in his fair share there on Sunday. And then Mitchell Sanford, a guy, he's really coming around. He's still walking at a pretty high clip, but now the bat's starting to play a little bit too. After he hit that home run on Saturday there, he comes back and follows it up with a 2 for 4 performance, 3 runs scored with an RBI and a walk, hitting out of the 3-hole there, right behind Luke Hill and in front of Moorman. And Isaac Humphries is a guy that's really come along too. 1 for 3 with 2 runs and an RBI and another walk for him too. That seems to be one thing that these guys are doing. They're really taking their walks. 2 hits for Judd Udemark, including that big double to drive in a couple of runs. He goes 2 for 4. Smithwick ends up getting a hit, 1 for 3. Pano, 2 for 4. Pano's guy I want to talk about for just a second here, Hitch, because he's a guy, he had that that error there at shortstop, obviously, in the first inning. Feels like the bat might be starting to come around a little bit, though, because even his outs were pretty loud outs. He's making hard contact, and that's what I keep an eye on with struggling players. If you're still barreling the ball up, they're eventually going to find a hole and find some grass and get down for you.
Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like he is swinging the ball or swinging the bat with some confidence. And so I think it's just a matter of time. Now, I did hate seeing that error. I think I said to you, it's like, hey, get these guys in and get their swings, but, maybe don't make errors the first 2 innings. I think it is important for guys like Randall and Pano or Chang, Reuter when he gets back. However we do these platoon positions that we're, going to do this year, it's important that these guys get at bats. And I think Pano is very, very close. It did look like he barreled a couple of balls up this weekend. And he swings. It just looks like he's confident when he takes a swing. So I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I do too. And like I said, that wraps up another sweep there. Ole Miss wins 13-2 in a run rule victory in 8 innings after that Ryan Moorman home run. We're going to take a quick look at the Arkansas Razorbacks real quick. Obviously, Ole Miss does have a game against South Alabama down in Mobile on Tuesday. We're not going to go too deep into them. I looked at them. They're not a very good team. Haven't played really anybody this year, and they're 9-6. They give up a ton of runs. Hopefully, this is merely a confidence booster heading into conference play here on Tuesday night. And we're going to need it because this is a really good Arkansas club coming in. D1, I believe, has them as their number 3 team in the country. Ole Miss moves up to number 13 in this week's poll. And one thing I always said about Arkansas was they're going to pitch, and they're going to pitch because they've pitched as long as Dave Van Horn's been the coach there. That's not going to change this year. One thing I found interesting about Arkansas, though, Hitch, Gabe Gackle, their Friday night ace, obviously super talented kid, sophomore. He's kind of struggled so far this year. He's had some bad games against some not so great teams. He is 1-0 on the year, a 6.16 ERA. He's allowed 18 hits in 19 innings and 13 earned runs in those 19 innings. 19 strikeouts to 9 walks, 2 hit by pitch. He's getting hit at a 247 clip. Hopefully, Hunter Elliott can get back to his old self. This is where Ole Miss needs to take advantage Friday night. Hopefully, Geichel, hopefully his talent doesn't come back to fruition once he steps foot on Swayze, because he's really struggled a little bit and has been giving up some hard contact. So hopefully the Rebs can get that Friday night victory and get the series off to a good start.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Somebody probably had to correct me, but I think we saw him last year, maybe out of the bullpen or something. That name sounds familiar, but I don't remember. Mm-hmm. I should have looked to see. But yeah, I'm with you. It's things like this. This feels like an opportunity to go in on Friday night, and steal one from the home team, and it hopefully, like you said, maybe his talent doesn't come back this coming Friday night. But with the way that the Rebels are swinging the bats, I think going into this start of SEC play, I think they're swinging the bats really, really well. I think this lineup from top to bottom can score runs in a bunch of different ways. I think we've shown it where it's not just solo bomb, 2-run bomb. We've bunted. Hell, we didn't talk about it. We ran a squeeze play this past weekend, just a straight squeeze. And we steal bases. We can go single bomb. We're very patient at the plate. If you're not going to throw strikes, we'll take the walks. And so, I think that I'm not going to say a complete offense, but this feels like an offense going into SEC play that's kind of clicking on all cylinders. And it felt like, at least a couple of years since that's been the case. And so it's exciting.
Yeah. So you get again Gabe Geichel on Friday with the 6.16 ERA, and after that they're really good on the mound. Zach Root on Saturdays started 4 games, a 2.11 ERA, only giving up a 156 batting average so far. 21 and a third innings pitched, only 12 hits, a 36-6 K to walk ratio in 21 and a third innings. The guy's got it all going right now. He's been fantastic. They're going to have their work cut out for them. They're on Saturday, and then on Sunday, Landon Bitchley's, I don't know how to say his name, but that's what I'm going to go with. Just going to go with Landon for now. 3-0 on Sundays, a 2.37 ERA, 19 innings pitched, a 20-3 K to walk ratio there. So at least when you get to Saturday and Sunday, those are 2 guys that haven't been giving up free passes. They've made you earn it. And especially in Root's case, there haven't been a lot of people earning it with a 156 batting average. So the Rebel bats are really going to have to be selective. And when they do get their opportunities, they're going to have to take advantage of them.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's not going to be just, knocking out the starters, right? Or going after the starters. I know I said I didn't have anything on Arkansas and I didn't look anything up, but I have watched them play a couple of times, a little bit here and there. And, once you get into their bullpen, they've got guys like Will McIntyre, who has been at Arkansas for, 37 years. And he can come out. And I mean, if we do get after Gackle on Friday night, Will McIntyre has the ability to come out just like Mason Morris did and throw 5 innings and shut us down. So it's more than just the starting pitching. But, like we said, we feel pretty good about this offense going into it. We just have to see how that goes. But, yeah, those guys on Saturday and Sunday don't sound like a whole lot of fun.
No, and I'm actually going to highlight a few more bullpen arms for him too. You got Parker Cole, the junior. He hasn't given up a run so far this year. Has already appeared in 7 games, 9 innings pitched, a 2.06 batting average, 9 strikeouts to 0 walks. 7 hits in the 9 innings, so you can get to him a little bit. 2 unearned runs. Colin Fisher, the sophomore, a 1.12 ERA in 5 appearances. That's over 8 innings. He's got a 13-2 K to walk ratio. And then Gage Wood, the junior, 2.57 ERA, 160 batting average, 7 innings pitched, 13-1 K to walk ratio. You can sense the theme that I'm trying to point out here, Hitch. They're in the zone. They go after you. They try to get you out themselves and not rely, quite frankly, even on their defense. They're going up there to strike your ass out, and they're not going to put you on base while you do it. It's going to be arm after arm after arm with this Arkansas club. But that's nothing new. We've seen this time and time again with Arkansas. They're usually able to back it up with a really good offense as well. There, for the first part of the year, they were really struggling to hit the ball. That hasn't been the case here lately. They're 15-1 so far this year. Lost to Kansas State in Arlington. They played there the week after we did, and ended up beating TCU and Michigan while we were there. Those are 2 good wins. But the offense is kind of starting to come around. And in the last 5 games against Louisiana Monroe and Portland, they've scored a combined 64 runs. Now, I know ULM and Portland aren't world beaters by any stretch, but you're still putting up 64 runs in a 5-game stretch. That's pretty good. And that's led by the Alloy brothers. These guys are knocking the hell out of the ball right now. Shortstop and DH, respectively. They are batting .468 and .433 with a combined 12 home runs, 13 doubles, and 47 RBIs. Kohia Alloy, 9 walks to 8 strikeouts. The other Alloy brother, 7 and 7. So they're right there, even walk strikeout ratio. They're not chasing. And when they swing the bat, they do damage with it as well. Those 2 guys are absolutely on fire right now.
Yeah, the shortstop, the kid that was there last year, he had a coming out party against us last year. He had a big time against the Rebel Arms. And so
didn't he hit like 4 home runs or something like that weekend?
I don't know. It was something stupid.
It was. He killed us that weekend.
They've also got a first baseman transferred in from like NC State who's good or something. They've got the Diggs kid in the outfield. He's been there for 3 or 4 years. He usually has pretty good numbers. Yeah, I mean they had a pretty good transfer class coming. They had some names.
Yeah. One of them, Brent Iredale, the third baseman. He's a junior. He's also hitting over 400. 408 so far this year. 6 doubles, 6 home runs, 25 RBIs, 15 walks to 11 strikeouts. Again, they're not getting themselves out. They make you come to them, and when you do, they end up making you pay for it. Charles Davlin, the sophomore left fielder, he's hitting .333, but again, 10 walks, 2 strikeouts. Now, they don't run just a whole lot. That might be something that's in Ole Miss's favor. But they're not going up there, and they're not getting themselves out. They make the pitcher come to them, and they've really turned it on the last few games. So it's going to be an interesting series. Again, number 3 Arkansas coming into town. You'd like to get off on the right foot there against them. Hopefully, be able to take 2 in Swayze, but we will see how that goes. Hits before we get out of here, we got to do players of the week. So who's your player of the week for this past weekend?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many times I picked him. I kind of feel bad, but I have to go with Ryan Mormon again. All right, I was 6 for 13, 2 doubles, 2 bombs, 9 RBIs, and a stolen base. I don't know. That's my pick, but there are plenty to pick from.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I had mine picked out on Friday night. It was Mason Morris. Just thought what he did was really a tone setter for this team for the weekend, and really turned the series around again, keeping the momentum in Ole Miss's favor and out of that Jacksonville State dugout. Again, with the 4 2/3 innings pitched, the 7 strikeouts, and just 0 after 0 after 0. Just can't be understated how important that was for him to come in and shut them down the way he did. So I'm going Mason Morris. Seems to be a theme of players of the week. I keep going pitchers, you keep going hitters. So we'll see if anybody makes us change our mind next week against the Razorbacks.
I almost went with Hump because he had 2 home runs and a couple walks, but because he ignited the rally on Friday night.
Yeah. Unintentionally, had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I know. Unintentionally.
All he was trying to do was walk. He was just trying to walk, man.
He did walk. He did walk.
He
did.
He did. He sure did. All right, buddy. Look, we'll get back together again next weekend. We'll talk about hopefully at least a 2-1 weekend for Ole Miss. And if they end up sweeping, then they may not want us in front of the camera at that point. But we're going to do it anyway because I'll be pretty fired up. But I appreciate you doing this again, buddy. And we'll talk again next week. And hi, Toddy.
Howdy, toddy, man.